Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today we are sitting in a very random part of my room for a very exciting video. I decided to do this one a little different than I have in years past, but this is essentially going to be my 26 books that I have to read in 2026. Hopefully by this point, I'm filming like so many start of year, end of year videos right now. I don't even know when this is going to go up, but hopefully you guys have seen at this point my wrap up for 2025, my reading plans for 2026. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to be filmed. But basically, this one is going to be kind of just a random exciting video where I'm basically going to talk you through, I have a ton of books sitting next to me, the 26 books that I have to read in 2026. I'll talk you through them, why I want to read them, and then they're all gonna go on this little bookshelf over here, which you guys may have seen before in some of my videos, but this is actually a relic. This was actually, it doesn't look like much, but my dad actually made this bookshelf years ago, but like before I was born. So this thing's older than me. It's just a really basic bookshelf that I've spray painted black over the years. If you guys have been around for any length of time, you've probably seen it in some form of a video, even just in the background. Yeah, and then if you guys haven't met him yet, this is my betta fish and two snails. This is Luca, Dot, and Bruno. So this is also the fish tank, if you guys want to know more about my fish. That's the deal with this corner of my room, and this is my desk where I work. So anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into my 26 books that I'm going to plan on reading in 2026. Let's get into it. All right, we're gonna start this off with an honorable mention. This is the book that I have to read in the next 3 weeks from my book club. If you guys didn't know, I am a part of a book club with a few of my friends. We pick a book every month, get together, discuss it. It's a great time. And this month for January, we are reading The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. This is a very anticipated book for me. I picked this up a while back when we actually read a different book by him, A Thousand Splendid Suns, and read that, I think, back in October, maybe September. I think September was when we read that one. And yeah, I really enjoyed that book. It's a heartbreaking novel, but we've really leaned into the historical fiction for our book club. So I think this is going to be, well, this is the next one we're going to read, and I'm excited about it. So I know this one is essentially about a child and the son of his father's servant, transporting readers to Afghanistan at a tense and crucial moment of change and destruction, a powerful story of friendship. It also is about the power of reading, the price of betrayal, and the possibility of redemption. So I actually think this is going to be really good. I've heard a lot about this. I know this is such a hyped, beloved book, so I'm excited to get into it. I haven't started it yet, but we will soon. Next, let's just kind of go through the list at random. 2 books that I have to read because 2 friends recommended them to me, and they just have made my 2026 list, is The People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This one I'm actually planning on reading very soon in the next couple days, depending on, again, when I post this video, I may have already finished it, but this is one of those gorgeous new editions that they've been coming out with for her books, and I'm obsessed with it. This essentially follows, I think, 2 friends, Poppy and Alex, that are I think every year they go on vacation. Yeah. So every week for a decade, or every summer for a decade, they've taken one glorious week of vacation together until 2 years ago when they ruined everything and they haven't spoken since. This is coming out as a movie on the 9th. I'm planning on reading this before I go see the movie with some friends, so that is on the list. I think it's going to be really good, and I'm excited about it because I've never read Emily Henry before, and this is my year. We'll talk about it more in my 2026 plans, where I read the authors I've always wanted to read, and Emily Henry is one of them. I'm excited. Oh, why am I putting them down here? The whole point of this video is we're going to put them on the bookshelf, so let's do that. Also, ignore the mess of cords. This is all for Luca's tank, so we're doing this in an unconventional filming location. I apologize. You know what? Actually, I'm going to keep this one and The Kite Runner off because I need to read them sooner rather than later. Okay, but next we'll talk about this one, which again just came out as a movie. This is The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. Everyone is obsessed with this. It just came out as a movie. I would love to see this and then read it and then see the movie. This essentially follows a woman who is a house cleaner. She's like a nanny. She picks up their kids. And then there's like a strange dynamic between the wife, the husband, it's like a whole set of situations. I'm very excited to read this one. I've heard that it's very good. I've heard the rest of the series is fine, so I think I'm okay with just doing the first one. But again, Frida McFadden, one I haven't read from before. We're hitting off on the people that are just so hyped in their lane that I want to know what it's all about and try it out. And my best friend actually read this, and she said she read it in like 2 sittings, so I think this will be a quick one to get on the list. Okay, we'll fix this as we go. Okay, next we're going to do one that was on my 2025 list. This one is Passing. This is by Nella Larson. I didn't realize, but I think this book has been out for actually quite some time. And this essentially follows, I think, 2 sisters, no, friends, one of them, both of which are women of African American heritage. And essentially one of them decides to pass as a white woman, and the other one just lives her life as a normal African American woman. And essentially just starting to, what's the vibe with this one? I'm trying to remember. Essentially they want to figure out the dynamic of the one sister, or the one friend is essentially repelled by her decision to engage in racial masquerade for personal and societal gain. They essentially just kind of figure out like their dynamics of one kind of wanting, I think, what the other one doesn't have. So I think this will be really interesting. It's a pretty short book as well. Granted, the font's pretty decent size. And then I know this was also made, I think, into a movie as well. So yeah, I want to pick this one up. Again, reading more books just outside of my comfort zone, in the sense of just reading stuff that I probably wouldn't be exposed to normally, and just trying to expand my reading horizons. Ooh. Okay, next, let's follow in a similar vein with that. And this is The Professor and the The Housekeeper and the Professor by Yoko Agawa. I think I'm saying that right. I actually realized I read a book by her recently that came out. What was the book that I read by her? Oh, it's going to bug me. So past or future Taylor editing, put the book up here. But this one I think is the same author, if I'm remembering the book correctly. If I'm not, let me know. But essentially this one follows a woman who comes with her son, and they end up taking care of a math professor who's had a traumatic brain injury, and he only is able to have 80 minutes of short-term memory. So she's a housekeeper with a 10-year-old son hired to take care of him, and every day they introduce themselves anew as a strange and beautiful relationship blossoms between them. Yeah, so essentially I think he can hold on to like the math, but he can't hold on to anything else other than like anything beyond 80 minutes, which I think is so interesting. I think this is going to be so beautiful. I wanted to read this last year and I didn't get to it, so this is the year we're going to get it done. I love translated work. You guys know this. That doesn't fit there. Okay, next. I'm late. I'm so late on this game. I should have read this last year, but I'm doing it because I bought a beautiful edition when I was in New Zealand. No, I bought this in Australia. I bought a beautiful edition when I was in Australia. Like, look at how gorgeous this is. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. This is, of course, Wicked by Gregory Maguire. This is the life and times of the Wicked Witch of the West. This is essentially the story that launched the musical, that launched the theatrical phenomenon that we all knew and loved from last year. So this follows, of course, the Wicked Witch of the West as she kind of explains her journey. I've heard it is not safe for children. I actually tried to read this years ago and just couldn't get into it. I've read one other book by Gregory Maguire. It was about the Nutcracker, if I remember correctly, and it was fine. So I think his writing style is a little more unique than what I'm used to reading, but I'm really excited to read this. Again, I have this beautiful edition. I want to go through it. Hopefully I'm obsessed and I love it. I know it's a little bit more risque than like the theatrical editions are, but I'm excited to read it and I think it's going to be really good. So we're going to do it. Okay, next, what else can we talk about? Let's talk about some YA. So again, as you've seen, because hopefully it's been up before this, my plans for the year is to read a lot of YA to get it off my shelves. I have a lot of YA I've been wanting to read for years, and I'm just not the demographic for a YA book anymore, but there's still some that I really, really want to get to before I completely phase out of it. Part of which is this series. So this was huge on BookTube, like 2016, I think is when this one came out. Is that right? Maybe later. Maybe. Hold on. When did this book come out? Oh, can I just say, I hate Oh, I hate when books have these kind of pages. Oh, I hate them so much. Sorry, sidebar. It's just the most annoying way to try to read. 2016. Yep, I was right. Okay, so this became so big in 2016. It's a continuous series, so hopefully if I like it, I'll want to continue. But this is Three Dark Crowns by Kendara Blake. This, from what I remember, is three sisters, all equal heirs to the crown and each a possessor of coveted magic. Essentially, they have to fight for it, and it's basically a fight to the death. Last queen standing gets the crown. So that just sounds so interesting to me. I remember people being obsessed with this series, and I think I'm going to enjoy it and hopefully, like I said, find a new favorite series. I'm not above reading YA. I actually really enjoy certain YA. I've just learned lately, the more that I've been reading it at the age of 32, I'm not as into it as I was before, which is fine. I'm not the demographic for this anymore, obviously. But yeah, I still want to, I think, like I said, go back and read some series that I think I'll still really enjoy, even if I'm outside the age range. Nope, okay. Let's see. Next, let's pick up a book I'm actually probably going to restart because I've ended up reading like a third of it a while back. But this is Frost. This is such a random one, but this is by C.N. Crawford. This is a book Kaden got for me our first Christmas together, and I still haven't finished it. And that is a crime. Do I think I'm going to love this book? I think I'm going to enjoy it. I think this was one I think I saw recommended a couple years ago. Thought it sounded good. This essentially follows a woman who falls in love, or essentially it sounds kind of like The Bachelor. Like, what's that? Oh my gosh, what is that series that was about the girl and she was going to be queen? Oh my God, I'm totally blanking. Anyways, if you guys know what I'm talking about, you know. But essentially this one I think follows a girl that's basically in a competition to become the next queen of the fairy court. She essentially has this whole situation happen, and then the king of the fairy court essentially just needs someone to like cover for him, and he's gonna essentially push her through because he has his own kind of hidden motives. And yeah, I think they're going to end up falling in love. I think it's going to be spicy. I think it's going to be good. So I need to reread this because it's a crime that I haven't read it yet. And we're going to get to it this year. Actually, hold on. We're going to just start it over when we do that. All right. Next. Stay. Okay. Next, we're going to read one that again has been on a couple of these lists. If you guys know, you know. I'm really good about some of the books on this list, and most of the time I'm kind of garbage. This is the year that we're going to read the books on the list. Okay, this one is Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water by Daniel Kraus. This, I think, was the book after the movie, so I'm pretty certain this essentially just follows the movie. I've never actually seen the movie. I know, shock horror. But I'll be honest, I bought this purely for the cover. Like, look at how stunning this is. So what I basically remember about this one is this is about a woman that works in a lab who basically, yeah, she works the graveyard shift as a janitor in the Baltimore Aerospace Research Center. So essentially, she sees an amphibious man captured in the Amazon to be studied for Cold War advancements. And I think they end up falling in love. And from what I remember too, she is deaf, or she speaks in sign language to him, and that's I think how they communicate. So I'll be really interested to see how they translate that in the book. But I think this is going to be good. I think I'm going to do, again, a watch and read type of dynamic where I read and then I watch. If that's a series, actually, because I feel like I have a few on this list that are book to movie adaptations. If that's something you guys are interested in seeing, I know that that's, again, this is an older movie. Let me know. We can talk about it. Let me know if that's something you're into. Okay, next we have, I'm almost afraid to show this book to you guys. How do I explain this book? I think this is one of my oldest books that I still currently own that I haven't read yet. Like, this has followed me to 3 different houses. It is by one of my favorite authors and something I think I'm gonna actually love. So why I haven't read it yet, I think I'm afraid. And I need to just bite the bullet and drink the good wine and wear the clothes when I want to wear the clothes and read the books when I get the books, because I feel like when you save a book, I don't know, I just have a good feeling about this. Look how many times I've tabbed it being like, this is the year you're gonna read it. This is the year I'm gonna read this book if it kills me. This and one other one that I'm, again, afraid to show you guys. This, I think, has been on almost every single blank in blank year list that I have, I think, since I started my channel with reading, and I have no words. So this essentially is by Scott Westerfeld. He's the author of the Uglies series, which is one of my favorite series of all time. And this essentially is, from what I can remember, a book, a kind of a book within a book. So this woman is writing a book, and then it's told in alternating chapters within the book that the author is writing. So she's writing, and then we go from that perspective into the book itself and into the life of the character. And I think, yeah, two narratives, unforgivable heroines. I don't know. It just sounds really interesting. So I'm excited about this one. I just need to read this. Honestly, I'm going to really try and read this in January because I feel like if I don't, I never will. So this is the year. This is the year. We're going to do it. And you know what? I'm not even going to put it on the shelf because I'm putting it with the January reads so that I get to it. Okay, next. Let's talk about this one. This is a random one, but I'm trying again to diversify my reading. I'm also, if you guys are interested, going to do a series in 2026 I want to read and a nonfiction that I want to read because I feel like those are two categories that I'm not the best about sticking with. So to hold myself accountable, we'll film those as well too if you guys are interested. Again, mass content coming to you guys in 26. This is The Stranded. The ship is their world. To survive, they must end it, by Sarah Daniels. I just picked this up randomly on a whim from Target, actually, because it sounded really interesting. This essentially is a luxurious cruise ship now home to the stranded. For 40 years, they've lived and died on the water. No one is allowed to disembark ever. So essentially, I think she's trying to figure out how to get off the ship, how to save everyone. It seems pretty standard. Again, this one I think is YA, but it just seems pretty interesting. Survival type story, and I'm very intrigued. And so we're going to pick it up. Also, I will be totally honest, my barometer for what makes the list of 2026 reads is pretty low. Like, I just kind of stand in front of my shelves and go, what's something that I've been dying to get to that I just haven't, that if I get to the end of the year and I haven't read it, I'm going to be so bummed with myself. This is that, a culmination of things. Okay. We have another one. It's been on these lists before. This is The How and the Why by Cynthia Hand. Now, here is my thing with Cynthia Hand. I've read two of her books so far. I read The Afterlife of Holly Chase, and I read The Last Time That We Say Goodbye. Both of them were fine. So I'm a little skeptical on this one. This is essentially my third time's the charm with Cynthia Hand, and I think if this one gets a 3 or below, I'm passing on Cynthia Hand moving forward. I know, criminal to say, but this one I think does sound very intriguing and seems like something that might be more up my alley. This one essentially follows a woman who has a family, mother, loving daughter, and then basically finds out that she's been given up for adoption, or I think she knows she's been given up to adoption, and then all of a sudden she ends up getting letters or coming by letters from the woman who gave her up, essentially, when she was 18. Yeah, so I think this one seems really cute. I think it goes across both storylines of the mother when she's pregnant and then the daughter as well, trying to find the mother. So I think that sounds really interesting. And yeah, I think the concept sounds really good. I think this one was really big when it first came out a few years ago. And like I said, third time's the charm, Cynthia Hand. We'll see if I love her. Okay, next. Let's talk about, what do I want to pick up? What do I want to grab? Okay, let's talk about V.E. Schwab. So I have actually never read a V.E. Schwab before, and I also on this year plan to read Vicious and what's the other one? Because I think there's a third one in that series coming out this year, so I want to read those. But I also want to read this by her because it's kind of a random one. This is Gallant by V.E. Schwab. My understanding with this one, also this edition, stunning. This one essentially is about a girl named Olivia, who essentially beckons her back to this place called Gallant, the one place her mother's journal warns her to never go. But she goes anyways, of course she does. There she finds the last living relative in her family manor. Essentially, no one in Gallant sent her that letter. No one will tell her what haunts her cousin's dreams, what happened to her mother, what happens on the other side of the wall. So I think this is kind of like a twisted Alice in Wonderland vibe is kind of the thing that I'm getting. Like, she gets a letter, she gets brought back to this family manor, wild things happen. I think it's going to be maybe a little spooky from what I remember, gothic fantasy vibe. I'm excited to read V.E. Schwab. Again, big name on my list for this year for 2026. I'd love to get to, and I'm hoping she's a new favorite author of mine. I think it's going to be a good year for her. Okay, next, let's talk about the other book that I think is my oldest book on my bookshelves forever. Replica by who is this by? Lauren Oliver. I can't talk today. This essentially follows two girls from what I remember. It's got two dual storylines. So you could read this side with Gemma and you could read this side with Lyra. And this, from what I remember, essentially follows, let's see, two experimental subjects managing to escape. They make their way across a new environment. They meet a stranger named Gemma. They try to understand their purpose. I think they're like clones of each other, essentially, from what I remember, or something kind of along those lines. I remember years ago, I think back in high school even, loving the Before I Fall and the Delirium series. So I'm really excited to read this. And I think she actually has a new book coming out this year. So this is the year I have to read her backlist. Like, I just have to. So this has been on my shelf for forever. I need to read it. It's even a signed first edition. Like, guys, I have to read this year so I can earn the right to read her new book that comes out this year as well. So yeah, this one again, along with Afterworlds, these are both a January read. And if I don't get them to them this year, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself, because I don't know. It's reading. The stakes are so low. I do this to myself. Let's be honest. Okay. Next, let's talk about Spice World. So this is one that was on my list for last year. Didn't end up getting to it. Again, a bit of a YA pick because this one just sounded really good. Essentially, it's in a city where a woman, or a 17-year-old girl named Amani, wields a dagger like no other warrior, earning her the reputation as the next greatest shield in the battle against the dangerous jinn, ghouls, and other monsters lurk in the sand beyond the city limits. Her reputation is overpowered, however, by her brother, who tarnished the family name after he was discovered stealing the world's most coveted spice, a telltale sign of magical obsession. He disappeared soon after and is believed to have died past the forbidden waste, leaving her reeling in betrayal and grief. But then she discovered as evidence that her brother is alive. Dun dun dun. I think this sounds really interesting. I think this sounds really good. Again, trying to clear out some of the YA on my shelves this year. Hopefully I love this and am obsessed with it. We shall find out. Okay. Next, let's talk about some more historical fiction. This is The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. This essentially, I think, follows some pretty true events of, the actual narrow recreation of Lael Scovillos's experience as the man who tattooed the arms of thousands of prisoners with what would become the most potent symbol of the Holocaust. I think this one's going to be heavy. I think this one's going to be really interesting. Enjoy is not the right word. I'm very intrigued by stories of this time. I just think it's such an awful chapter in history that I would think we're doomed to potentially repeat if those that stories aren't able to be told from this time, I think are just so pertinent and able to be understood. So regardless, I think this will be really interesting. It's actually pretty short. I've had this on my shelves forever. Again, a lot of this was trying to go back and look at books that have been on my shelves for a really long time, pick them up, hopefully enjoy them this year, and hopefully find some new favorites. So I think this one's going to be very, very, honestly heartbreaking, but important. Okay. Next, we're going to do a couple YA rapid fire. We're going to read Until Friday Night by Abby Gills. This Glynns. This essentially is about, oh God, I don't know if I'm gonna even like this anymore. This is what's gonna be hard, is I'm so out of high school. It's been 15 years since I've been in high school, guys. But this basically is about a guy who's the popular football god that led the high school to state championships. He's grief-stricken inside. For the past year, he's watched his father slowly die of cancer and he hasn't told anyone. 2 years ago, Maggie witnessed her father murder her mother. And then, God, I haven't read the back of this in a minute. Afterwards, she told the police what happened and then never spoke again. After moving to Alabama to live with her uncle, she's kept her sorrow and her fractured heart away. So I think they're going to meet. They're going to become friends. I think this feels a lot like a Friday Night Lights movie, like the TV show, which I loved back in the day. I think this is going to be really good. It's a series. I hope that I love it. I love a high school dynamic where there's like grief and they're trying to come together and there's like secrets. Ugh, I think it's so good. So I'm hoping I like this. I think it'll be good. Again, I'm trying to clear out YA that I've just been wanting to read for such a long time, and I think I'll be bummed if I let go of it and never ended up reading it because it's been on my shelves for so long. No, dude, doll, dang it. This shelf is like just short enough to not fit most books, which is kind of annoying. But anyways, next we're going to read Eliza and Her Monsters. This is by Francia Zappia. This essentially is a girl where she's a online content creator for a wildly popular webcomic, and then in real life she's really withdrawn, she's really shy, she's really quiet. But then I think someone ends up sharing that she's the author of this webcomic and everything changes. It kind of gives that vibe of the show. I can't remember what anything is called today. I'm sorry. The show that was on Disney Channel where a girl writes a novel, it basically becomes a bestseller, and then everyone figures out that she wrote it about all of them. It kind of feels a little like that. So I think it's going to be good. I think there's magical elements to this potentially. I forget. Or if it's just like pure real life. But I think this one's going to be really good. I hope there is. Perfect. There's illustrations in it, which I'm excited to see and read. And I think this one's just going to be really good. And I'm excited about it. It fits. Okay, next, another heartbreaking book to movie adaptation, Room by Emma Donoghue. So this essentially follows a woman and a son who were captured and kept captive, I think in a basement, and yeah, they were kept in a room for 7 years, and the boy essentially escapes. And I think, because I remember seeing trailers for the movie, the boy escapes, they end up getting free, and then I think it's just him kind of adjusting to like life, because all he's known for 7 years is the one room that he's lived in with his mother and their abuser. So yeah, I think this one is going to be really interesting. I think it's going to be really heartbreaking. Again, I want to watch and do a read type of situation. So again, if you guys are interested in seeing that, let me know. Just barely fits. Oh, okay. Next, let's talk about a little murder mystery vibe. This is the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. This essentially is about a guy named Aidan Bishop, and it's kind of like a Groundhog's Day. So Evelyn Hardcastle has died. Aidan Bishop has to identify her killer, but every day he wakes up in a different body of someone at the party where the murder occurred. I think this is going to be really interesting. I think this is going to be really cool to kind of get a bunch of different perspectives, different views of the party. I wonder if I'll be able to figure it out. I'm semi-decent at catching a plot twist before it happens, so I think it'll be interesting to see if I can catch this one. And I love kind of a whodunit style, like Agatha Christie, love her. This is one that I think I'm excited to get to. Okay, next, another one that has been on my shelves for forever that we need to get to. This is The Jess Show by Anna Carey. This essentially, from what I understand, is kind of like a Truman Show, but for a teenager. So this girl essentially is living her life in the 90s, and then all of a sudden someone shows up and like drops an iPhone at her, or she finds an iPhone, I think. Something like that. And basically, it's supposed to be like a Black Mirror meets the Truman Show vibe, which I'm kind of excited to read. I don't think the ratings on this are the best, but I still think from the references of the 90s and different things like that, I love the Truman Show and I love Black Mirror, this could potentially be something really, really good. So I've kept it for a few years now, wanting to read it, and this is the year we're going to get it done. Okay. Next, let's talk about a classic that I've been wanting to read. And again, I'm realizing like 90% of these, maybe 50%. Yeah, maybe 50% of these are like a watch to read type of situation. But this is The Life of Pi by Yann Martel. This is a story essentially about a boy who survives a shipwreck and is stuck in a canoe with a tiger. And this one, I remember being obsessed with the movie. I know this book is so beloved. It's such a good classic. I think a lot of kids potentially read this in high school, or were supposed to read this in high school as a reading option. And yeah, I just think this one's going to be really good. I think I'm going to really enjoy it. I remember loving the movie. I remember there's kind of a plot twist at the end of like things. So if you haven't read it, definitely something to pick up. And yeah, again, trying to read more classics, trying to expand my reading horizons outside of the fantasy, romantasy, general fiction that I do on a pretty regular basis. And I think this one's going to be really good. Okay, we have 5 more books. We're almost there, guys. Okay, next, let's talk about another one that has been on my shelves for forever. I'm telling you, I'm really trying to knock them out this year. This is The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X. Arpan. Again, another huge book in 2016, 2017, I think, when this one came out. And this one essentially follows a girl whose mother has passed away, and she is convinced that the mother has come back to her in the form of a crane, I believe. Is it a crane? A bird, essentially. And so she travels to Taiwan to meet her grandparents for the first time. She's trying to find her mother, the bird. I think this is going to be a terribly sad book. I think I'm going to cry, potentially. I think it's just going to be really good. So again, this is one that's been on my shelves for a minute. We're trying to clear it off, and I think this one is going to be a really strong book about grief, how to handle grief, and just how people tend to move forward in their lives when someone they love is gone. So I think this one's going to be heartbreaking, but beautiful. Okay. Next, we're going to pick up something like Gravity. I think this was also on my 2025 book list for last year, but this is one that, again, I'm really excited to get to, like all of these. This essentially follows, I'm trying to think. Oh, that's right. Okay, so Chris and Mia aren't off to a great start. They got brought together when they almost crash on the road. Their next encounters don't fare any better. Chris has come out as transgender, still trying to process a frightening assault he survived the year before. Mia is grieving the loss of her older sister and trying to find her place in the world without her. Falling in love was the last thing on either of their minds. So this, I think, again, similarly to like the Friday Night Lights book, is something that I think is going to be so heartfelt, so touching, and just a really great book to just have out in the world for just people to read and have similar shared experiences if they've gone through something potentially traumatic, or even if not. Like, I think books like this are just so good, and these tend to be the type of YA books I find that I get drawn to, are kind of trauma stories, if I'm being honest. But I think they're so interesting. I think they're so important, and trying to find love through it all is something worth reading about. We're gonna fix this after we're done showing you all the books. Okay, 3 more books? Okay, yeah. 3 more books. This is, again, an author that I'm so excited to read. This is Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn. This is such a beloved author. This is such a beloved series. I don't read a ton of high fantasy, and I know Brandon Sanderson is like one of the kings of high fantasy, just general fantasy in general, and I'm very excited to read this. I don't actually really even know what it's about. The mists rule the night, the Lord ruler owns the world. A hero rose to save the world and he failed. Ever since, the world has been a wasteland of ash and mist controlled by the Lord ruler. Hope survives. A new uprising is forming, one built around the ultimate caper, a cunning of brilliant criminal mastermind, and the determination of an unlikely heroine, a street urchin who must learn to master the power of a Mistborn. Very exciting. It kind of gives me the vibe of The Thief Lord, or what's the other ones that are like similar vein to this? I don't know. I think this is just going to be really good. Dystopian, uprising, unlikely hero. I think this one's going to be really good. I'm excited. And this one is just generally iconic. Okay, next we're going to talk about another one that's been on the shelves for a minute. This is The Gender Game by Bella Forrest. This one essentially is dystopian in the sense that everyone in the world is split between, like, men live with men and women live with women. Women rule the East, men rule the West. They essentially are completely split. So, and then I think she's about to go in to try to find her brother who disappeared or she thought was dead, potentially may not be. And then now she has to go into the kingdom of Pardis, where men rule and women submit. But everything about the patriarchy is dangerous for a rebellious girl like Violet. I think this is going to be really interesting. I'm going to be really interested to see what this book has to say about gender and just gender's hierarchy, structure, things of that nature, the patriarchy, the matriarchy. I think this is going to be really good. I know that is a series, so if I enjoy it, I want to continue in it, pick it up, and keep going with it. But yeah, this is one that's been on the shelves for a long time. I actually think I got this one from like a super random book swap, like back in the day. So it is done. Okay, and the last book that I'm trying to read in 2026, the 26th book, this is The Warm Hand of Ghosts by Katherine Arden. This is by one of my favorite authors. She wrote the Bear and the Nightingale series, the Winter Night trilogy, and she's coming out with a new book this year about unicorns. so I need to read her backlist to catch up. I don't know why. I feel bad reading an author's newest release if I have books on her shelves that I just haven't gotten to yet, so this is one of those books. And this one, I think, follows a combat nurse who searches for her brother, believed dead in the trenches despite eerie signs that suggest otherwise, in a hauntingly beautiful historical novel with a speculative twist, from the author of The Bear and the Nightingale. Let's see. So yeah, I think this is essentially going around during World War One, I believe. And to be honest, this is kind of one I like going into with little to no knowledge other than that. I like that it's speculative fiction. It kind of gives me the same vibe as Rebecca Ross's Ruthless Vows and Divine Rivals series is kind of the first thing I'm picking up from this. I don't know if it's a romance, but I think this one's going to be really good. And then I can pick up her newest release after I finish this one. These are the arbitrary rules I make up for myself when it comes to reading. Is it silly? Yes, but here we are. All right, friends. So let me fix the bookshelves and then we'll get back to wrap this all up. All right, friends, so there we have it, my bookshelf for the year for my 2026 reads. I'm excited to get to this. I did also have kind of a fun idea in mind for this as we go through these, is that maybe I'll put these in like a jar or write them down and randomize them. For every month, we can pick 3 that I have to read, because I think if I read 3 every month, 2 to 3 every month, I'll hit all 26 for the year, which I think will be good. We'll of course start out with these 3 as my January picks and hopefully start the month out strong, start the year out strong. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments below if there's any books you're wanting to get to in 2026. Maybe we can do a buddy read, do it together. I'd love that if you guys are interested. But yeah, other than that, keep your eyes peeled with even more content coming from me soon for 2026. I'm so excited for this year. It's going to be such a good one. I'm inspired. I'm ready to read some of my favorite books I've ever read, which is always, of course, the goal. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to see more of my face, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!